Yes. All right, everybody. Hi, I'm Tottenkopf, and welcome to Biomining Basics and Setting Up a Biomining Lab. Over the next 45 minutes, or however long it takes me to speak, because I'm kind of a quick speaker, if I go too quickly, just tell me to stop or slow down. I will be covering what is biomining, why you should be interested, or if you are already kind of interested, want to give you a little push to actually get you to do something. Talk about what kind of things you can mine, why would you want a biomining lab, hardware that you can use for the lab, software you can use for the lab, and then any questions y'all may have. So, what is biomining? It is the tracking of any biological function or process, and it satisfies a need or want for tracking this information. It applies some of the processes and tools used with data mining and mirrors some of the beliefs and goals of the quantified self movement. So before I go on, though, how many of y'all have at least heard of data mining? Yay, that's most of you. Okay, you've heard of it. Do you know what it is? Yes, so I'll sound smart compared to y'all. But data mining is the extraction of useful information. What?
Sorry, I'm still hung up on the fact that I've never heard of quantified self.
I'm going to be going over it. That's why I have an hour. Data mining is the extraction of useful information from a large set of data. And they have an acronym, DIC, that they use for data mining. And DIC stands for Data, Information, and Knowledge. You start with data, which is any facts, numbers, or text that can be processed by a computer. Then you take that and convert it into information, which you get from using patterns, associations, or relationships that you find amongst all the data. And then you take that and you get knowledge.
G.I. Joe!
Thanks, Nicole. Okay, so how does it fucking work? How do you get from data to information to knowledge? Well, you can use modeling, which is the act of building a model in one situation where you know the answer and then apply it to another situation where you don't. It's a technique that's been around for centuries, but most people start using it more because the resources needed to the resources necessary to process a large amount of data in using modeling has just become available with, newer and faster computers. You can also use classes, which uses stored data to locate data in predetermined groups. Clusters are data items which are grouped according to logical relationships or consumer preferences. Sequential patterns, which is data being mined to anticipate behavior patterns and trends. Sequential patterns is most commonly used in biomining. So how does data mining relate to biomining? Well, one of the major points of biomining is generating a lot of data. You sit there and you track everything that you want to know about yourself. How long do I sleep? My quality of sleep? How often do I have sex? How much do I poop in a day? Stuff like that. And then you use data mining software to plow through and get DIC. And then information and knowledge is gathered once you do the data mining and can be used in various situations. So the quantified self movement, which Nikki was asking about, thanks, is a global collaboration of users and tool makers interested in the personal meaning of personal data. Basically, it's people who are interested in tracking every little thing about their day-to-day lives and then using it. Well, some people use it, most of them just like going, hey, I found this way to track this data and share it with everybody else. The first quantified self meetup group was in San Francisco in 2008. There's now 27 quantified self meetup groups, and they have a conference in California every year where They all gather around and talk about new ways that they found to track their data, what they use the data for, et cetera, et cetera. Aspects of the quantified self. Whereas biomining is just stuck on biological functions and processes, the quantified self uses health, productivity, mood, finances, how social you are, basically any aspect of your life. How does it relate to biomining? Well, like I said, the quantified self is about self-tracking, which is a huge chunk of biomining. The meetup groups and their blog is a great source of information for people who are new to biomining, and their meetups are also a good place to meet other people who are interested in self-tracking, can give you tips. What? I've actually never been to one of their meetup groups because I think the quantified self, the name itself sounds kind of dumb. And I'm not interested in learning to track my finances because I don't care about my finances, which is why I'm poor, and I just care about the biological stuff. So why should you be interested in biomining? Well, you can use it to collect baselines. Know when something is really wrong with you instead of just thinking it's wrong with you. You know, when you feel a little pain, is it a normal pain or is it, oh, just a one-off thing, or am I imagining something because somebody else over there says that they're feeling kind of funny? And then you have the data to back you up, and you should also know why you feel the way you do. It drives me crazy when everybody is brought up to believe that they're unique little snowflakes, and then when they go to the doctor's office, they say, oh, I have a pain here, and the doctor tells you what they think it is, and people are like, oh, okay, that's cool. And so that's a good thing. So, not really, I'm being kind of sarcastic, but you can't tell because I'm drunk. Hooray! So, for example, about a month or so ago, I started feeling a pain in my torso, and I'm like, huh, that's kind of new. A couple days later, it progressed, it didn't go away. So I finally went to the doctor, and I'm like, hey, I have this pain in my torso. It's about a 6 or a 7 on the pain scale, and it feels like a pufferfish is like bouncing around in my torso. And she's like, oh, it could be your gallbladder. And I'm like, no, it's not my gallbladder. Oh, well, it could be your appendix. I'm like, no, I don't think that's it, because my parents have both had their gallbladders and their appendixes removed. And, you know, so I pushed her and pushed her and pushed her. She's like, okay, go do an MRI. Went to take an MRI, and the technician's like, oh, it's a cyst the size of an orange. And I'm like, fuck you, doctor, I was right. And she called me up, and she's like, well, I guess it wasn't your appendix or your gallbladder. And I'm like, yeah, I know. So that's why it's good to know how you normally feel and, you know, when you deviate from that. Motivation and self-improvement. Biomining is great for people who have to see progress. A lot of people like to weigh themselves every day to see that half an ounce drop off the scale. Biomining, you have a huge line graph that shows, oh, I started over here, and now I'm like here. And some people like that. It makes them feel better. And then it's easier to spot when or why relapses occur. Like you can be from here to here, and then here there's another spike, and you can, if you biomine, you can see why there was that spike. And it keeps you honest about whether you're achieving your goals. What should you log? Well, anything relating to your mind and your body. We already talked about that. What do I log? I log food, how much I eat, the calories, sodium, physical activity, how much I run around, heart rate, probably through the roof right now, blood pressure, weight, BMI, measurements like neck, chest, waist, thigh, etc. How much and the quality of my sleep. And if I'm feeling any pain, how bad is it and where is it? And how long do I have it? Huh? Drinking's awesome. Oh, no, I don't want to see that. There's no calories in drinks. Why do I biomine? Well, I wanted to see if I could start doing it and then stick with it because I have a bad habit of going, oh, this is kind of neat and shiny, and then I get bored. So I wanted to see if, by doing this every day, would I stick with it or would I eventually get tired of it? What would I change about it? And then I could track goals that I set for myself, and I just don't fucking trust doctors for obvious reasons. Yes?
What are your thoughts on why doctors would never ask us to baseline ourselves? It seems like it's something really easy to do. Why don't, like in all the health courses I've ever took, or basic, why don't they say, hey, know your numbers, baseline yourself?
That's a great question. The question was, why don't doctors want you to know your numbers? Why don't they want you to take your own baselines? They think that we're incapable. They went to school for 8 years, so surely they're the only ones who can do this. Well, yeah, exactly. Diabetics are told they have to track their blood sugar every day throughout the day. Why aren't we encouraged to do the same thing with our blood pressure, with our heart rate, with our intake? A lot of people probably just won't do it, but exactly, this is what this is. Yes?
On the other end of the scale, though, isn't this kind of a justification and sort of pushing people almost towards being hypochondriacs?
No, actually. The question was, am I trying to get people to become hypochondriacs?
Yeah, you take your mining data and you say, oh, I'm 6% off here.
Well, I guess if you're that kind of person, that would happen. But you don't just suddenly become a hypochondriac. What? Yeah. But it just drives me nuts that the doctors don't encourage you to track your own information, to know, oh, is this normal? Well, I don't know. I don't stop and think, have I had the normal amount of sleep today? Yes, I'm sorry.
That's because that's how doctors make their money.
But so the claim was that that's how doctors make their money, is by you coming to them. Well, why can't I track my own information, come to them with that data? That can be a diagnostic tool that they're completely ignoring. I'm sorry, I can barely hear you. So the argument is the accuracy of the data, that not everybody will track the correct way, because it's true, not everybody knows the proper way that you have to have your blood pressure cuff, because there is a specific way, and if you don't have it on right, you're going to get a wrong reading.
Doctors practice medicine, but there's another realm called wellness that is along those lines, and that's where I'm coerced into participating in this Virgin Health Miles thing.
Mm-hmm.
So they give me a pedometer to wear so that I can track my steps, and it's got a little USB port on it so I can plug it in and upload those steps. And I'm also encouraged to go to a station where I take a weight 3 times a week and get a blood pressure done and other things, other.
Exactly, and I'll actually be talking more about that kind of stuff towards the end.
Not a medical initiative.
Was there somebody else with a question? quite often when the doctor asks me, "Oh, do you smoke?" No, I've never smoked. And I also don't drink. Much. So, a biomining lab. Why would you want to have your own biomining lab? Well, you have the freedom to do whatever the hell you want within reason in that lab. Convenience of having convenience and storage for all of your equipment. It's nice to have all of your stuff in one place. For example, like how many of you have a computer lab in your room, or a den, or a computer room? Yeah. Why? Is it easier to just go into your own space and work on your stuff without people harassing you? Jason Street's pumping his fist in the air because he has a man cave, literally. And that's the same reasons why you might want to have a biomining lab or a section of your computer lab for biomining. And like I said, peace and quiet, which is important when you're trying to establish your baselines. If you're trying to take your blood pressure and you have like little kids running around screaming, "Mommy, mommy, 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 mommy," your blood pressure's gonna go through the fucking roof. Okay, so hardware. What kind of hardware is useful in a biomining lab? Well, there's the basic stuff like a scale, a measuring tape, your computer, laptop, tablet, and a clock, watch, or timer. All of these things are really cheap. You can get them, well, except for the computer, laptop, tablet, but I assume everybody here has one of those things already. Varun, really? Really? Varun Sharma does not own a fucking computer, laptop, or tablet. Really? You can also go a step above, buy your own EKG to track your heart rate. They retail at least $35 for the cheaper models. An EEG machine, which tracks your brain waves. Those are about $225 plus. And then a pedometer, which, how cheap are they now? They're probably like $10, $15 plus. I think McDonald's was giving them away with Big Macs one year. Walk your fat ass over to McDonald's and buy a Big Mac. Huh? Oh. In case you're feeling fancy, you can also buy a WakeMate or a Zeo personal sleep coach, which is like a cuff that you wear on your arm, and then it tracks you while you sleep. It senses movement because it has like an accelerometer in there, so it senses movement. How long you stay asleep. I think it also tracks heart rate, and the WakeMate at least hooks up to your iPhone. There's the Omron full body composition monitor, which is about $129, and there's the Wi-Fi body scale, which is $160, and what that does is it tracks your weight and your BMI and and your height, and then it sends it wirelessly to your computer for you. Or you can make stuff yourself, like an EKG. They're really cheap to make. There's a really famous one who made a EKG for less than $50. He used pennies as diodes. It can be done on a breadboard or something prettier or more compact. This is actually the picture of the first EKG I've ever made. So that proves that it's easy to make because I am not a coder or a maker. And I'm pretty sure you won't electrocute yourself. Now, they also have an open source EEG project. It's called Open EEG on SourceForge. They have different versions of EEG, like modular and I can't remember the others actually. It's a little more difficult to make in code, and they even have it in big bold letters on their site. You're probably going to get electrocuted when making this at least once. And they say, don't test this out on yourself. And I'm like, who are you going to test it out on? Your friend? Huh? Right, there's the MindFlex toy that you could also hack. I can barely hear you, Chris. What Chris is saying is that you can easily modify the mind flex, right? Mind flex, yeah. And then you can also make a smartphone brain scanner. This was just talked about within the past week or two. Some guys within the Me Lab, which is a lab in a school, got together and they made a 14-channel EEG headset that works on their Nokia Android phone, and it uses the MindFlex, actually, like you were talking about. And they state that the smartphone provides a touch-based interface with real-time brain state decoding and 3D reconstruction, so you can sit there with the MindFlex on your head, look at your phone, and just think about different stuff and see different areas of your brain light up.
Well, N900 isn't Android, it's Linux. That's not
I'm sorry, Nikki. Because that's really the point of this fucking talk. I already said I'm not a maker.
Is it Pete or
You can also hack a scale. There's a gentleman who on Google Code posted up more or less step-by-step instruction on how to hack and code your own scale to save it to an SD card, and then you can take the SD card and put it into your computer and build a graph of the data. And this guy, by going to the Google Code page of his, he's really, really nice about answering any questions you may have or talking with you about ideas, because I've bugged him a lot. I'm like, hey, how about this? How about this? How about this? How about this? And he's like, why don't you just do it yourself? And I'm like, no, you've already done it. But he's really, really nice and patient. Software stuff. Apps for your phone. We're going to start with Android apps. There's a whole bunch of these available in the Android market. Almost all of them are free. You don't have to get the pro version unless you really, really want to. For food and exercise tracking, I personally use Calorie Counter. It has everything there. It has a food diary, a weight diary, and constructs a graph. You can save recipes that you use and view it on the website. They have MyFitnessPal. And then they also have a sleep tracking app, which is Sleepbot Tracker. For iPhone apps, or iPad apps as well, they have Gym Buddy for about $3. Daily Burn, they have 3 different tiers. Like you can get the free version, the cheap version, and the I want everything version. And then they have Sleep Cycle for sleep tracking. And for Window Mobile, actually no, I'm lying. More iPhone iPad apps. They have blood sugar tracking for diabetics. I think they even came with an adapter where you can get your blood strip read and logged. I don't remember what it's called, but they do have that available. They have TallyZoo where you can just tally whatever you want. Daily Tracker, again, you can tally whatever you want. Microsoft. I'm not doing Microsoft. Does anyone in here have a Windows mobile phone? Oh shit! Really? Do you want a real phone? I can give you my crappy Android phone. Is it? It will be nice once Mango comes out eventually. Now you can't see this, but they're actually taking a picture of the dude with the Windows mobile phone for posterity. Wait, are you in a security shirt too? I'm telling Relic. Oh man. I know.
Nobody has one, so no one hacks them.
Right. It what?
Apps that apply to that on here as well. People that are making for iPhone and Android, they just ported it over here. So you
Yeah.
see a lot of the same.
Which is also why I didn't bother with the whole side of it, because like he said, Windows Mobile does take a lot of the apps from the iPhone and iPad and the Android devices and just port them over to Windows Mobile. Yeah, they just suck a little bit more because it's on a Windows Mobile phone. For your computer, I'm going to get so much hate mail for that, probably. For your computer, stuff to download. Office software is awesome. Not Microsoft Office, like you can use Open Office or Google Docs. Spreadsheet software is really great because you can put in all your data and then they make pretty charts and graphs for you. Text editing software if you want to take journal entries, like if you want to keep a dream journal. Or note down if something particular happens so you can be like, oh, why did I eat more this day? Or why did my heart rate raise? Oh, well, according to this journal entry, I don't know. I just had a crappy day, so that's why all this happened. Web-based services. There's a lot of these websites available where you can sign up for free. They have the Daily Mile, which you can log how much you run, and Fat Secret, which is the web version of Calorie Counter. General goal tracking, they have MoodScope and FluxStream. Medicine and medical, where you can go to other people who are taking the medicine that your doctor just prescribed you. You can go to Cure Together and the Experimental Man Project. That's both of those are really great because you can be like, oh, my doctor just prescribed me this. Let me look this up, and you can see how certain people reacted to this, and you can see, oh, another 40-year-old male with this condition is taking this medicine, and he feels like killing himself. I'm not taking this medicine. For sleep, you can use YawnLog, and Tylenol PM has a sleep tracker, which actually doesn't suck. All of these are free, and quite a few of them port over to like Twitter and the Facebooks, so that way you can keep yourself accountable with your friends and annoy the crap out of them, like, oh, hey, Tottenkoph just ran 3.68 miles in like 5 hours. Right. And then drank herself into a coma. And then I have all these sources that will be available on my website, or if you really care, I'll put them on Twitter or whatever. This DIY stuff. The top one is the guy who made the do-it-yourself ECG for under $50. I stole a whole bunch of, well, not a whole bunch, but quite a few ideas from Neon Rain, because she's been doing a lot of stuff with EEG and EKG. The Open EEG project from SourceForge and the Google code page. All the apps I stole from Lifehacker Lists about 2 weeks ago. Computer software is the Quantified Self website. Okay, any questions?
Why aren't you drinking more? What pain skill do you use? Because like pain is like a really subjective.
Oh, the question.
What pain skill do you use? Because like pain is one of the things that they have a hard time doing in actual research.
So the question was, what kind of pain scale do I use? Well, I use the one that the doctors do, the 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. It's a crappy scale. It's a horrible scale because you can tell your pain by what smiley or frowny face you are. But that's the one doctors use. So when you go into there and you're like, oh, I have a 8 on the pain scale in my upper torso or whatever, they'll know exactly where to start. Mm-hmm. Right, exactly. There's no room for changing it. It's well established. Huh?
Pain is relative. I just got a kidney stone. Nothing really hurts for a few weeks because you're just thinking about it relative to a kidney stone. Well, speaking from experience.
Oh, I've never had a kidney stone, so I don't know. I'm sorry. Mm-hmm.
Right. I think one of the things that would help with that is, I mean, the biomining in and of itself.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, say for instance, like you have a stomach ache, or you're fine, and then you feel a stomach ache coming on for a couple of days, and you got like, I don't know, water sickness or something.
Water sickness?
I think it's happened.
Okay.
So, anyway, yeah, like, so to, like, it goes from I'm fine, and then okay, this is exploding, and then you're like, I'm dead, all right? So, but like, because you're able to see it this
Right, like,
visual kind of thing, you can remember like, oh, okay, yesterday it hurt more when I pushed here.
right. So, like, for example, when I had that pain, I was like, oh, this really hurts. And then I'm like, could it be heartburn? No, this doesn't feel like heartburn. Oh, could it be because I'm a woman? Is it like a female thing? No, I feel that every month, and it doesn't hurt to breathe. So it was argued that it technically was a woman thing, and you're right. I had. Yeah. So it's like the equivalent of like getting a tumor on my ball. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Killface. Die in a fire.
So then you just do like a free-form note. So you can, instead of aiming for like pain or something, you might say today it's a 6, and then maybe a section to explain why you think it is. That way you can justify later on what the numbers or other values are.
Right, and that's one of the good things about keeping a journal is that like, oh, 6 this day, what happened? Oh, I was being a wuss. Okay, that's cool.
Can you mine qualitative data alongside quantitative data? And that one of the kind of the big donos in analysis is trying to mix those two to hold in the same regard?
Yes, you can. That's absolutely. I'm sorry, I'm having brain farts. But yes, having qualitative and quantitative data side by side is something that's really helpful and a really big part of biomining.
There are a few iPhone maps that I use. I didn't even know that I was doing biomining, but I guess I have.
That's okay, because I kind of made up the term with Neon Rain like a few months ago, so.
There's an app called Moody Me, history of depression
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing. But yeah, you can. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like you can at any day or at any time in the day just like track your mood and then write what happened.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one, but one that's really good in terms of like sleep. There's something called mood ring. You wear that, it tells you your mood.
So he recommended Moody Me, which is an app that helps you track your mood. You can say how you feel and then something that might be associated with why you're feeling that way that day.
Yeah, it's like you can rate your you pick your mood and then you just like write a note and then it saves those together. So that's really cool. But then there's this other application for iPhone for sleeping and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Sleep. Yeah, imagine you sleep. I think it might also be called iPhone and Sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless, every time you set the alarm and you wake up, it records everything about it. So like when you're going to sleep, you slide the little with you button guy, and then it records your like sleep time, like that's when it starts. And then like when you wake up, when you hit snooze, it records how many times you hit snooze and how many times like it actually takes you after you've done all of that, and it puts everything on a graph. You can actually, it does it monthly. I feel like I'm selling this app.
I'm like, are you getting paid by these guys to just push this app? Oh, this random person's going to be talking about this stuff. We can sell this.
Yeah, just download it for free. But
It's a paid app, so download it.
Actually, I do sometimes. Oh, okay. Right. It can tell. Yes. I've stuck with it for 2 years. So I started with a really long list of stuff I wanted to biomine, maybe about 25 different things. I wanted to know everything, and then now I mine just the things that I talked about because I'm like bored now.
Did you have any sort of tips or anything like that that helped you maintain the habit of actually reading?
So, first of all, you have to want to track the data. Like if it's, I know, you're like, oh, that's so gay. Why'd you say that? Like you. I usually carry a moleskin around with me, so like just in case something like I had an idea or something, I'm like, oh, and then I'm like, well, why don't I use it for other stuff too? And so, like I said, I started with this long list of stuff that I wanted to keep a track of, and then over time I'm like, well, I really only want to know about my sleep and my weight and my blood pressure because my doctor's bitching about my blood pressure, and I don't really think it's that high. And the question was, did I see any problems trying to establish a baseline and see any deviations? Yeah, it took a good, 6 months for me. It could take other people longer or shorter amount of time. But it took me a while to say, okay, so this is my normal blood pressure at 8 o'clock in the morning. This is my normal heart rate at 8 o'clock in the morning. And then, oh, why is it up here? Oh, because my mother called me. Why is it down there? I don't know. I think I took a Percocet.
You're collecting data, you're theoretically mining data. What have you mined out of at school?
What? I'm sorry.
Mined out of the data at school.
Right.
What types of things?
What types of things? What? Why is Varun even talking? Don't you have a drink or something? No? Oh. Sober and don't own a computer. Right. I'm sorry, can you say your question one more time?
Mining your data.
Right.
What's a cool observation or a cool result of that mining that you come up with? Like something that you have learned?
Oh, what have I learned from BioMine that I didn't know before? Well, okay, for example, cons. Everybody's like, oh, I ate so much during con. Oh, I gained so much weight. Well, they don't know why they gained that weight. Yeah, we drink a lot, and that's a whole bunch of calories. But we're also eating out all the time, and then we sit and listen to boring talks about biomining for an hour and don't move. I mean, when I'm home, I consume maybe 1,500 or so calories a day, and then I try to go walk or run for at least a mile, and that helps keep me sane and normal. And when I go to cons, and I feel great, like I'm happy, I'm able, my back doesn't hurt. And then when I come back from DEF CON, when I haven't done any of that stuff, I've had 50 million calories. And yeah, I've kind of walked over a mile, but not really. And then I get home and I just feel sluggish and kind of depressed and burnt out. Stuff like that was pretty interesting to glean. So I try to do better. Well, I say I'm going to do better the next con and don't. Exactly, like Killface, who tells me to drink all the time. Actually, yes. Actually, yeah, that I do. I don't publish it to the groups because I'm like, that's mine, don't touch. But like when I had the pain, I had my journals and stuff with me, and she's like, "Oh, it's just normal," or "Oh, this is gonna pass." I'm like, "No." And then I threw my journal at her and a USB drive with all the graphs, and then she's like, "Oh, well, I guess we can go get you an MRI." And I'm like, "Thanks, that would be swell." Huh?
Let's say about this doctor plugging a USB drive that you gave her.
Yeah, HIPAA compliance, what?
So you found a new doctor then?
Yes, actually, because I thought that, I mean, if I wouldn't have pushed her and said, "Here's the data to back me up, I promise you I'm not a liar, I know how I feel," the oncologist said it would have burst. And it would have hurt like 1,000,000,000 times worse.
But like when you gave us data, but that from your perspective, right? Even though you follow certain schemes and all kind of things,
Mm-hmm.
but for doctors or whatever, at least they need to go through those phases.
Right.
If you have not been under observation through those phases, that they take action on what you told them. Maybe my hand's broken, but now I'm feeling pain in my ankle. So if I tell her, "Hey, fix my ankle," so I don't know how. Can you be objective about it with doctors? Or I don't know.
So it's really hard to get doctors to believe that you actually have been collecting this data, that you didn't just trump it up for this office so that you can, get whatever you want or the desired result. And you just have to, I don't know how many of you guys have a regular doctor. Like, I've been to this doctor for about a year, and she still gave me pushback, and I'm like, "Hey, no, one of my big things was like, when have I over-exaggerated about any of the data that I collected?" And she's like, "Never, it's actually been kind of accurate," very begrudgingly, and I'm like, yes. Well, when you go in, however often you go, I mean, I guess you're supposed to go every 3 to 6 months to get a checkup. They log all that data in your medical chart, but 3 to 6 months in between data collection, a whole bunch of stuff can happen to you physically, emotionally, et cetera, et cetera. In that time, it's inaccurate. Right. So the question was, do I know of anyone or any instance of people recording or tracking cortisol data by the amount of cortisol in a hair strand? And no, not yet. Maybe something on the Quantified self forums, because those guys are really on top of everything associated with self-tracking. Yes, Ed, I'm sorry.
So I think your biggest win is that you were actually almost able to save your life, right? Because doctors see so many people, they have to make a baseline for everyone that comes in and out their door, right? And nobody's baseline is the same.
Exactly. We all have different baselines.
Problem 3 days ago, right? I went to the doctor and said, "I'm having chest pain." She's like, "Oh no, it's muscle pain. Here's some good drugs, go home." And I was like, "It's not a muscle. I know my body better. It's not a muscle. So I can't help you any further." So I took myself to the hospital and said, "You got some more tests on me because I went to the doctor. She gave me painkillers and was like, 'You're not going to be dead.'" And they finally wound up diagnosing me with pleurisy, right? Which is a lot more serious than a muscle pain.
Right.
And I kept arguing with even the doctors in the emergency room, telling them, I have fever. I have had a fever for 5 days. I have pain in my chest. I have no other symptoms. It's not normal for me. My blood pressure is low. Something's wrong.
Right.
Kept pushing back and pushing back until I finally said, "Get me somebody else in here who's going to listen to what I have to say." And they finally gave me a diagnosis. But you're right, you got it.
And it's really sad that you really do have to push doctors, because over time, the longer they've been a doctor, the more apathetic that they become. I mean, I know that's a terrible generalization, but over time, they're just like, oh, you're complaining a lot. Here, have some pain pills.
Did you actually have a fever?
Yes.
And they didn't, but they didn't like measure that? When they just were like,
Your fever's only 99, sorry.
well, well,
I was like, no, my fever, my temperature normally runs low. I'm usually 97, but not a 98.6 person. Oh,
Right.
99 is not high. Well, it's high for me.
yeah.
Something's wrong. And I pushed them to do the blood test. They're like, oh, your white cell count is high. You have some kind of infection. Oh, wow, really? Thanks for noticing.
Well, I think that also.
Thanks for telling me that thing I already knew.
It's really painful. Yeah. It's like,
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
One thing I'm interested in is the biofeedback. Like, I really got interested when I saw the neon rays talk, the DEFCON 16 you were talking.
Oh, definitely. Anybody who has not seen Neon Rains, DEFCON 15, 16, and I believe 17 talk, maybe 18. She's done a whole bunch of stuff really in depth about EKG and EEG. It's from the same sources that I've mentioned, but she's really good at explaining that kind of stuff for beginners. Her 15 talk about using an EKG to play Tetris was just really cool, and that's kind of what got me into this whole thing.
One thing I'm curious is, because of that, you're aware of the Open EEG project and stuff like that. And I'm curious if you're aware of any other projects that deal with biofeedback other than like putting on something big and bulky. And one thing that I'm interested in pursuing is doing like a wearable set. So taking something like an Arduino and some of these sensors. There's like a little heart rate monitor that you can clip on your finger or your ear, or you put it on certain parts of your body. So could I take things like this that are gonna like, even if it's not completely accurate, it's loose enough to monitor fluctuations or changes so that I can track this data. I don't have to make it down, write it down.
Right.
Easier, but then at the same time had a little biofeedback so that like I get like a pager motor, like a little small vibration motor. So I have a acceleration in my heart rate or something because I'm nervous or something like that. You may not be aware of it. And I have that pulse just a little to, hey dude, you're getting worked up. Take a breath.
Right, and which is why Neon, especially I don't know her exact reason, but like one of the reasons why I like to talk about this kind of stuff in the Hacker and Maker conferences is because we're the exact kind of people that go, oh, I want to be able to do this. How do I do that? And then you spend days and days and days just programming this little Arduino to do whatever. Like, there's a guy who programmed a belt to vibrate whenever you're facing due north so that your body eventually remembers which way north is. 3 minutes? Okay.
I don't think it was on that. I think it's just the Fitbit.
Yeah, the Fitbit, I talked about it.
Is that what was on there?
I think so. I could be lying.
So I was going to ask. I know that it collects a lot of data because I think respiration and
Yeah.
it doesn't do pulse at this point. But,
The Fitbit's a pretty nifty little device.
so can you get to the data though? Like I know it presents data, but can you get to the raw data that it stores out? You know,
I honestly don't know. I haven't played with the
it
Fitbit.
does do a lot of cool data. I tried to look into it, but you also pay the monthly fee, which sucks.
Right.
But I was curious if it is an actual hackable device that you can get to the raw feeds, you can do your own input and then that'd be interesting because it is a lot of sense.
It is. Last questions. Oh.
Some heart rate monitors that work with, I think Walmart has a heart rate monitor that works with its Bluetooth transmitter that works with your Bluetooth, so whatever you want to get.
What?